Good evening and welcome to Under the Hood. It is Wednesday, May 31st. Can't believe that it's going to be June tomorrow, but we are getting to that time of year. I'm Eli Karp, host of Under the Hood and editor-in-chief of Throw the Flag Sports, and tonight with me we have a slightly varied crew as Danimal makes his return, Eric is back, Happy is back, and Gannon, after a hiatus, returns to go under the hood. So here we are, it's May 31st, and obviously late May, beginning of June, synonymous with a big time in sports. You've got two of the four major North American sports championships happening now in this time frame. Obviously, NBA Finals begins tomorrow, and the Stanley Cup Final began on Monday. So obviously, a lot going on. And where should we start? We're gonna cover some draft talk tonight, NBA draft talk after we talk finals, because it is the threequel between the Warriors and the Cavaliers. And then we've got an interesting matchup. The all-yellow matchup really hurts the eyes between the Predators and the Penguins in a very entertaining but kind of weird Game 1. So I guess let's start with the NBA Finals, because I think that is one of the most highly anticipated championships in years. Sure, you could have said last year was just was very anticipated as well. But this is the threequel. This is the tiebreaker, and there is a very good chance we could see this matchup next year. But this is the threequel, and for now, this is the deciding series. So let's start with Gannon as to what you're looking for, or things you're looking forward to in the series, and then after we get through everyone, we will make our picks. Frankly, I'll probably just flip a coin and go one way or another, because that's how I'm feeling right now. But we'll start with Gannon.
Well, I'm looking at the different matchups because, of course, at every position, these two teams are very evenly matched. At center, of course, they've got the size and kind of the fifth wheel on either side with Tristan Thompson and Zaza, who's been battling injuries. But at point guard, of course, you have Kyrie and Curry, and then you have Durant and LeBron and Love and Draymond. And those are all really good matchups. I think it's going to boil down a lot to the shooting guard position, because that's where you're going to get a lot of forces. That's how LeBron plays, and that's how Curry likes to play as well, is driving and kicking. And with Klay Thompson and J.R. Smith both have been pretty ineffective in the postseason. Their shooting has been pretty off, and so to me, it's going to be whoever can get it going, because it's kind of a rotation at shooting guard for the Cavaliers. It's going to be Kyle Korver, Iman Shumpert, J.R. Smith, and on the other side, of course, Klay Thompson. So whoever can get it going at that shooting guard position, I think that might give them a real edge this year. Of course, the addition of Kevin Durant is going to help the Warriors out a lot, where they lacked last year, which was definitely scoring at the small forward position. So I have high expectations for the Warriors this year in comparison to last year, but to me, like I said, it boils down to the weak spots where the star power isn't showing.
Yeah, Gannon, I agree with your point about Klay Thompson, who has been, to put it bluntly, he's been dormant this postseason. And I think that for the Warriors, a lot of it's going to revolve their success. If he can actually play well, that will be a huge service to them. And then I think once you get past Kyrie and LeBron on the Cavs side, who's going to pick up the slack? Kevin Love has been good, but we've seen times throughout the playoffs, especially in the Boston series, when one was off, the other had to pick up the slack. In LeBron and Kyrie, one or the other. But if Klay Thompson is playing well, they're going to need more help from others than just LeBron and Kyrie if they want to take this series. So yeah, that's definitely a good matchup to watch, or just definitely players to watch. Happy, what are you looking for?
I'm going to go back to those fifth wheels that you called the centers, because I think this is going to be where really the matchup could be decided down the boards, getting these rebounds. And really, I think Zaza Pachulia for the Warriors is probably the most important player, because he's been the guy who's surprisingly been one of the most dominant players for the team and has really gone under the radar. And JaVale McGee as well, also, when Zaza's been out, has also been a solid contributor to the team as well. And it's up to really Tristan Thompson to contain both of those, because you look at the Cavs roster, they really don't have that other dominant big man that can stop these guys. So that's what I'm looking at for the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think one of those X factors outside of Kyrie or LeBron has to be Tristan Thompson. He is, you could call LeBron or Kyrie, even Kevin Love, a heartbeat of that offense. I think you can make a very strong case for Tristan Thompson the way that if you need a bucket down low, he's the big man to go to. He's going to get those offensive rebounds night in and night out, time after time, up and down the floor. And I think that he's a very reliable option, or at least a good option, a safety net to get things going or just get a bucket. And I think he plays valuable minutes on both ends of the floor. So a very, very good point that you brought up there, Happy. Yeah, so I was going to say, actually, before when you talked about Zaza, where does JaVale McGee fit into this? Who's he going to go up against? Where is he going to win or lose his matchup? I'm interested to see what you guys think about that. So if you have any responses to that. Otherwise, we'll go on to Eric and we can revisit this. I'm just curious as to where JaVale would fit in. Eric, yeah, Gannon.
Well, I think that's going to be an interesting matchup off the bench. Is going to be Channing Frye and JaVale McGee, because those are the bench big men for either side. And Channing Frye has been really good at stretching the floor as a big man in the postseason. I saw one of the real storylines going into this is the last two postseasons effective shooting percentage. I think around 86% for Channing Frye. He's shooting over 50% from deep right now, and that could be a real big factor for JaVale McGee, who likes to play in the paint. He doesn't like to stretch outside. So if they can get Channing Frye coming out to the wings, perhaps shooting from deep, that'll get a big rim protector out of the paint and maybe open up things for LeBron and Kyrie, who like to drive a little more. I think that can be a big thing for their offense if they can get Channing Frye going in perhaps in the third quarter when it's a little bit of a slugfest.
Again, if you're watching, please submit your questions to the comments box. We've gotten a couple. We have Diamond Sword and Spintana with us tracking along tonight. And Spintana saying that Eddie Tavares is the X factor. No debate. So clearly, yes, that is going outside of Kyrie or LeBron or the Warriors' big 3 or 4, whoever you want to, whoever you want to put in that category. Eric, what are you looking forward to the most? Obviously, the Celtics took a hard exit, although I'd say after Game 2, I don't think anyone thought they were going to force a Game 5, even though it was merely a formality at that point. They pulled off a huge upset in Game 3. They actually had things going for themselves in Game 4, and then Kyrie and LeBron both just took over and dominated and did what they're paid the big bucks for. And then, Game 5 happened. So what are you looking forward to the most? This is I don't really hesitate when I say that in this series, in this finals, I think both teams are better than they were last year, which is a scary thought, but at the same time, it's very exciting. And as a fan, we have suffered through 82 regular season games, or however many that's per team, however many regular season games, and we have suffered through really a terrible playoffs. All for this, all for hopefully 2 full weeks of unbelievable finals basketball, possibly history. And so here we are. Finally, we've suffered through this, and we are here. So, Eric, your thoughts?
What I'm looking forward to the most is the Kevin Durant X Factor, really, because he was this close coming to the Celtics, and then he decided to bolt for chasing a ring. And then in the big games, he's had some good ones, but he's most likely come up short. Game 6 last year versus the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. This year's been a breeze for him because who's even had covering him? Like a 38-year-old Joe Johnson. I'm hype. He's not that old, but you get what I'm saying. But come on, now he's gonna have the best player in the world and probably a top 5 player all time covering him and going up against him. And ever since Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals of 2012, LeBron's changed his ways of choking in the playoffs to turn it around. And playoff LeBron is a very real thing, especially finals LeBron. As much as I really don't like to say it, it really is. And now it's legacy time for Durant. If you're going to ring chase what David West is doing, when you're the second best player in the world, and it blows back up in your face, that's going to kill your legacy. But if you are the best player on the court and you win the Finals MVP, then that definitely helps your reputation.
I think the legacy part actually radiates on both players that you're talking about. But
oh, yeah, absolutely.
LeBron can even inch closer to Michael Jordan. Obviously he's setting new records, new playoff records, seemingly every series. But of course, people are always going to wait and hesitate to say that LeBron is better than Jordan, and we're not at that point yet. He's won, he's won 3 rings, so a 4th would make things very interesting. 2 of those rings would be over some of the greatest teams of all time. But going back to your point about Kevin Durant's legacy, I think the Warriors would have gotten to this point regardless of Kevin Durant. I think that no, they would not be 12-0. They would have lost a few along the way, but I think that they would have gotten here. And so this is why Kevin Durant, this series right here, is why Kevin Durant came to the Warriors. The Warriors were already making the finals. Kevin Durant is the guy who is supposed to help them get over the hump and win the finals. So these 4 through 7 games are what he came here for, and if they can't get it done with him, this is a huge, I wouldn't call it a mistake or a blunder, but just a giant missed opportunity. Like, this is why he came. And I think if they don't get it done, it would be really, you look back on this, and it would almost be like for naught. So, huge for Kevin Durant's legacy. Obviously, it would do great things for LeBron's, but it would, you're just adding more layers to the cake. We're not quite at the cherry yet, but we're layering. So, Danimal.
Well, you guys talking about Zaza Pachulia and JaVale McGee, I think they will definitely bring a big presence as, even though, as Gannon said, Channing Frye will bring some shooting presence. If JaVale McGee ends up matched up with Channing Frye and Channing Frye is playing defense, I think JaVale McGee could go to work on him. But if they Zaza and JaVale mix up on Tristan Thompson, I think they can make him really outworked and give him a lot of trouble all night. And but the biggest thing I'm looking for in this series is who's hot and who's cold, because obviously last finals at the end we saw Curry and Klay Thompson play like they're playing in a men's rec league, and it was not great. As you've seen, Kyrie and LeBron, they've never really fall short and always bring hot performances to the table, especially dropping 41 in the last 2 games, Game 6 and Game 7 in the finals. And honestly, I think these teams are so good that it's just whoever doesn't perform well. And once again, the only way I could enjoy the Warriors winning is because JaVale McGee is on the team. And after all those years of being on Shaqtin' a Fool, he finally brings a title to his household.
One thing I think that's very interesting that I just thought about was looking at the coaching battle. Obviously, Tyronn Lue took over midway through last year, immediately won the finals. He's back this year. He's a seasoned veteran at this point. And on the other side, no Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr has been out with his recurring back issues. It's a really unfortunate just circumstance that Steve Kerr is going through right now. Obviously, the team is very well off enough on its own to get to this point undefeated. But Mike Brown, how is he going to react? I don't believe he's ever won a finals before. This is his first finals as a head coach. And this is for him. This is also the revenge factor. He had 2 coaching stints for the Cavaliers. They both didn't end so pretty, and so here he is looking for his revenge because it looks like Steve Kerr will not be back for the NBA Finals. So interesting to see if there's any demeanor change with the Warriors now that Mike Brown is in the finals now, if things get tensed up. And also there's the revenge battle from Brown. How does that change him? I don't think we're really going to see any nerves or any, I don't know exactly what to call it, any difference in game plan or changing from Tyronn Lue, just because I think he's pretty confident with where they're at the moment. And I think there's actually a little more uncertainty on the Warriors bench. Not Eric, Happy, did you want to say something before?
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. So, actually, Mike Brown actually has coached finals. 10 years ago, he was the Cavs head coach when they got swept by the Spurs.
So there it is. There it is. He's been there once, but obviously much different circumstances now as he's the interim head coach. But first finals for LeBron, he got swept, and who knows, now he's facing off against LeBron. So interesting storylines there. Do we have any other points we want to talk about with this final? Because with this finals, it's so deep with storylines, and obviously it's the trilogy. It is number 3 right now. We don't know that it'll be the last one, but for now we do. Just so much to go through. What it would mean. Or do we want to make picks now? Want to make picks? We'll make picks. All right, let's start with Eric. Eric, who and in how long? How much?
I got Warriors in 6. Klay Thompson's been awful this postseason, but I think he'll figure it out, and he can really give you like 22 a night, and he could give you the occasional, 36 and a quarter. So I think he'll figure it out, and Warriors in 6.
All right, repeat of 2 years ago then. Happy.
It's so tough, but I'm gonna go. I think I had to agree. Warriors in 6. I think it's just the one that. No, I'll go 7. I think they're these two. No, I think just to be different, I think I'll reach 7 games. I think the matchups will go back and forth. I do think that every team will win at home. I don't think the road team's going to take a game. I think it'll be a straight 7 series.
Well, I hope if you're talking about each game being close, as great as the 7 games were last year, the games themselves, except for like Game 7, not very good. None of them were really that close. So I'm hoping for some more thrilling drama this time, and just some more consistency of that. Again, we suffered all the way to this point for what we knew was coming, but we're now expecting it to meet or exceed our expectations. So it's a high bar, but hopefully it's met. Danimal.
I'm going to say Cavs in 7 just to be bold, and I think J.R. Smith drops 30 points in Game 7 and then walks off the court taking his shirt off and doesn't wear it for another 3 days.
What a storybook ending. Gannon?
I'm mad. You guys have taken all 3 of my choices. I was initially thinking Warriors in 6, and then I thought, you know what, this is going to go 7. Happy took it, and I said, LeBron's going to take this team to another championship, and Danimal took it. So it's going to be a 7-game series. It's hard to pick against LeBron right now, the way he is playing. But on the same note, the way that the Warriors are built, they're also going to be so tough to beat. It's going to be a great series. To make it 2-2 and leave the tiebreaker to Eli, I'll go with the Cavs in 7, just like Danimal.
You know what? I'm going to go even bolder by our standards here. Now, no, I'm not going to say anyone in 5, but I just think, just with this entire series, no one, if you have it going at least 6 games, I don't think anyone's going to really tell you that you're crazy for picking either team. It's just that way. Like, people are, it's just such an even series like that. They both won 1 series, and it's just like, they're just so strong on both sides. I mean, LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love, even him. And then you've got Curry and not Thompson right now. Curry and Durant and Draymond. But I'm personally going to go Cavs in 6. I'm going to spice this thing up here. I know Spentano had the same thing that he put in the chat box, so he'll be happy to hear me say that if he's still here. But it's just, I feel like LeBron is on a mission. Like, he just is. He has had one of his statistical best years, and he got no recognition for it. And yes, the other players had great years, and I wouldn't have taken LeBron for MVP, but now he is showing out, and he's just, all I can describe it is that he's on a mission, and there's just some aura that, like, it's different with the Cavs this year. Yes, the pressure is there, but they've won the big one now, and it just seems like, they took this year building up like they knew they would be here to this point. That's why they only won 51 games. They probably could have won upwards of 60 games. Everyone freaked out. They're fine. They're fine. And I think that I just have this feeling. I feel guilty for picking it not to go 7, but since people already have, I'm going to go Cavs in 6, and I want to say that they get it done in front of the home crowd. See, anything from the peanut gallery? No? Not at the moment. So that is our NBA Finals preview stint. So tomorrow, what, at 8:30? Probably 8:30. All right, let's shift gears. Flip over the arena from the hardwood to the ice. Penguins up 1-0 in the Stanley Cup Final against the Predators. A matchup that I will say I picked, the beginning of the conference finals. I say I had it coming, so not a huge accomplishment, but an accomplishment nonetheless. And Eric, I'm sure we'll come to you right after this to talk about the Predators. Very interesting game one. I watched bits and pieces of it. It was apparently, from what I heard, the first two periods were really Nashville outplayed Pittsburgh, but it was just a disastrous 5 to 10 minute stretch at the end of the first for Pittsburgh, or for Nashville, excuse me, where Pittsburgh just poured on 3 goals. Nashville came back to tie. That probably, I think, 8 minutes left in the third, and then Jake Gensel just roofs a shot. Absolutely beautiful shot. It really, it's worth a game-winning shot. But at the same time, I think the Penguins went about 30 minutes without registering a shot on goal, and they were on their heels from the beginning of the second to about the halfway point of the third. And I think that shot that beat Pecorine was that was the first shot in that 30-plus minutes or so. It was absolutely ridiculous. So Nashville, honestly, they really didn't play that bad of a game. They had a few bad minutes, but at the same time, I want to say Pecorine faced 9 shots, 10 shots, and he gave up 4 goals. Obviously, the 5th was an empty net. He has to be better. He has been very good all playoffs. It's a reason why they are in this spot. They really didn't play that bad of a game. They clawed their way back, but Pecorine has to be better. Obviously, it's a little weird to be making our picks at this point, but we can give him now, even though we're in game 1. So if you take us at our word, we will wind back the clocks to Monday evening at this time, and we can make our pick. So, Eric, first I'll get your thoughts, and then you can make your pick.
Well, just like you, I only watched some of the game the other night. But, yeah, that was a crazy game. Like you said, Nashville actually played pretty well. Well, one of the goals was an own goal off a deflection from one of the defensemen. I forget who. But, and then the other one was the, what's it called? The empty netter. So those things don't happen. You're going to an overtime. So that's the 50-50 chance of anyone winning. Just a bounce of a puck. But, like you said, Pecorine, he's been great all playoffs. He had led Chicago to 4 goals in 4 games. Or 5 goals in 4 games. It was something like that. But I think when you said 30 minutes without getting a shot, it was closer to 40, I think. I think it was like 37 or something crazy like that. But, yeah. I don't know. I had 12 shots on goal and won. That's...
It's really weird. If you're Nashville, you're saying, wow, we were right there. We easily could have won that game. And at the same time, you're saying, wow, Pittsburgh played terribly, and yet they won the game. God knows what's going to happen in game 2. They could absolutely turn that notch up, and this could get really quick, really bad, really quick for Nashville. So messages and lessons to be taken out from both sides, but a very telling game 2 will follow. How does Nashville respond after... Even though it's just game 1, it's a tough loss to have. And then Pittsburgh, do they come out and are they able to withstand a Nashville surge, or do they come out and do they deliver the first punch? So, Eric, what's your pick?
I think the Predators will come back tonight. Well, and win tonight. That's a split in Pittsburgh going back to Nashville. I'm sticking to my original prediction of Penguins in 7. But I'm rooting for the Preds. I really am.
I think everyone's rooting for the Predators. I think everyone was rooting for the Senators against the Penguins, except for me, because I can't stand the Senators this season. But yeah, I think most are rooting for Nashville. Although, history on either side. Penguins be the first team in the salary cap era to repeat since, I forget, it's like the 1995. Was it the Red Wings? Was it them? I'm forgetting at the moment. So it's either Nashville's first cup, or it's the Penguins being the first to repeat in the salary cap era in at least 20 years. So obviously, great accomplishments either way. And obviously, would cement Sidney Crosby's legacy, really a scapegoat for a while after the first cup, and he has just a renewed sense, kind of like a LeBron kind of drive now. He won. He came back and he won the big one. I'd argue that. Last year's was bigger than any other, and then here he is. He's just on a tear, playing some of the best hockey of his career, looking for a second straight championship. So, very interesting. Obviously, Predators a little banged up. Not that the Penguins aren't, but they've gotten a little healthier. They were really severely outmanned in that Ottawa series. But we'll see what this holds. So, Daniel, your pick?
I'm gonna say Predators in 7.
All right. Happy?
I'll go Predators in 6. I think they outplayed.
The Predators have closed everything out on home ice
I do.
and in no more than 6.
Yeah, I think they bounced back. I think they outplayed. And I think they're going to continue that. And if they don't, then oh well. I don't know.
All right, Gannon, I know you're just relishing and just waiting to say this.
It happened again. Y'all stole my picks again.
Oh.
I'm gonna go first next time around if we do this again. But I'll just be a copycat. I think the Predators, the way that they've been playing at home, they have to win this one on their home ice, and I think they are going to bounce back. And I'm going to go with the Predators in 6.
Yeah.
This is the first two are being played in Pittsburgh, so they're going home for 3 and 4.
Well, yeah.
Right.
So they would go home level. Yeah, it would be very tough if they went home 2-0. That would be nearly a death sentence, even though you can get it back to 2-2. And plenty of teams have done that. 87% of the time in a playoff series, when you go down 2-0, you're losing.
Like Eric said, I think Nashville's going to take tonight's game and then two at home and back to Pittsburgh and then seal it in Nashville.
It would be special. That crowd in Nashville is going to be electric. Really cemented itself this playoffs as one of the most hockey-crazed cities in the league, and truly just an unbelievable home atmosphere. And I had this feeling going back that I drew a connection between when the Predators clinched versus Anaheim Game 6 in the Western Conference Final. I had the feeling of a couple years ago when the Rangers clinched against Montreal in Game 6 at home. Probably the biggest Ranger game in 20 years, and this was obviously back then the biggest Predators game in their franchise history. So it was just like it was almost like a celebration, especially because both of them won. It was just really a celebration. So now going home, hopefully they're not down 2-0, but Game 3, regardless, will be electric. As much as I hate to say it, I see the Penguins at 6. I think they got very lucky to be up 1-0, but I think now that they're up, they just got to take care of business at this point. I think Nashville can come back, no question. I just think that the Penguins are going to close this one out in 6 as they did last year. So there's that. NBA, NHL season's done. Hey, actually, from yesterday, 100 days until football season kicks off. Woohoo! So we'll be back to physically and literally and figuratively going under the hood once we hit September again. So I know we're excited for that. We got baseball over the summer, but we also, towards the end of the month, I believe it's the end of the month, have the NBA draft, right? It's the end of the month?
I think it's middle.
End of June, it'll be like a month.
I think it's like the 23rd.
Let's have some draft talk now. Obviously, I think
22nd.
barring any draft day trades and weird stuff happen in the NFL draft this year, but barring any spectacles, I think it's folks. The Celtics at 1, Lonzo to the Lakers at 2, and then I really haven't thought of much past there. But Gannon, I know you wanted to talk draft, so spit your fire.
Well, I think things get interesting with Philadelphia at 3 because that really changed things up a little bit. People had the lottery of stuck to form. It would have been Phoenix at 3, where they would have probably taken one of the small forwards available. But with Philadelphia jumping, now that kind of changes things up. I think Jason Tatum is a good fit there because he's an isolation scorer, and that's something that Philadelphia really needs right now with Ben Simmons probably playing a lot of point guard duties, and he's not really much of a shooter. Jason Tatum and his ability to shoot. Malik Monk would also be a great fit. And then with Phoenix, of course, they're team I root for, so I'd like to see them not screw it up this year like they usually do. Finally got some good luck with Devin Booker and Marquise Chris, so I'm hoping 3 years in a row we can be happy as a Suns fan. I'm thinking Josh Jackson as a defensive small forward would be a good fit right here. Him and it would be unlikely, but I think De'Aaron Fox wouldn't be a terrible pick, considering, of course, the Suns and their love for Kentucky guards. Eric Bledsoe would have to probably get moved, and if the Suns could find a nice big man to trade for or a wing, then it would be a great thing to do. But it's hard with that guard-loaded backcourt. I think the safest bet would be Josh Jackson or Jason Tatum, whoever's available.
And obviously, talent typically has shown to offset completely or outweigh issues off the court. And obviously, Josh Jackson, issues well documented throughout college and now in the draft. What are your thoughts if he were to be? How would you feel as a fan with a moral compass if Josh Jackson were to become a Phoenix Sun?
Well, I'm a Vikings fan, and we just went from Adrian Peterson to Dalvin Cook. So, I mean, if they can play, put them on the court.
Oh, wait, just wait for the soundbite to come back and bite you, because that is something. If you were in the front office, you would be shredded up tomorrow.
No. I definitely understand. Yeah, the off-field problems are certainly concerning because you see it with a lot of players in professional sports. It can be a team-ruining thing. If you have one of your star players get suspended for a long period of time, it's something that shakes the entire team, not even just that player losing, being off the floor. So I think Josh Jackson, I don't think it's Jason Tatum. Obviously, I think that would be the safer bet. I don't think he'll be there. I think that's where Philadelphia will go. If it comes down to Tatum or Jackson, I would say Tatum would be the safer pick. But Jackson definitely could fall because of that. A lot of times you see players like that fall into the late lottery, and so someone around 10 or 11ish could possibly swoop in and take him.
Definitely. And besides just being, if you were to be suspended, which obviously is one case, just being a distraction, having the baggage as a player, similar to what different, obviously content and context, but similar effect to what a LeVar would be to Lonzo's team. Even though he wasn't just the distractions of a player. Yeah. But obviously, if you've got leadership on a team, the leaders are going to tell the rookie to shut LeVar up, and then that is that, and all will be well in Lakerland. So, other draft stuff that we see coming or see interesting. Happy?
I want to talk about the Knicks for a second.
Oh God.
Yeah. First, to the 8th spot when they had 7th. And really, I don't know what they're. I just don't go big. Like I see like guys like Zach Collins. Don't draft Zach Collins. So 1 year, or Lauri Markkanen, or just optimally, I think Dennis Smith might be a good choice if he falls, but I don't think he will. Malik Monk, if he falls, he won't. There's going to be this odd man out that falls, and hopefully it's probably be that French point guard Frank Nick whatever his name is. Frank Ntilikina or whatever, who's looks good, but I just don't trust foreign players. I really don't.
Porzingis turned out pretty good.
Well, let's see. He's got those attitude issues now with Phil, so you never know. Is that all?
That's all.
I don't think it's too much of a stretch to see Malik Monk falling or maybe Dennis Smith because
I would take a Monk at
Monk would be
at 8.
I think Monk would be the optimal choice.
And in whatever order I expect. I mean, everyone expects Fultz, Ball, and then the next 3 picks. I don't know what order, but Jackson,
Fox, and Tatum.
So you get there once you get to the Magic, and I think the Timberwolves are at 7, right?
Yep.
There's no way the Timberwolves are taking a guard right now. I think they'd probably go with Jonathan Isaac before they considered him their point guard after taking Dunn last year.
I think the Magic might take Monk. Maybe.
Well, by that time, if you're up to the 6th pick and you know that one team is not going to be taking that kind of a guy, you can make a play to trade up or make some kind of a deal.
I think at least Smith or Monk will be available at 8.
One or the two will be available at 8.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that it's
barring, of course, any kind of draft day shenanigans or trades. Yeah. So obviously that's something to factor in. Eric.
Well, piggyback off Gannon's point. I know how you feel. You stole my point about the Suns. Honestly.
It was his turn to go first this time.
Yeah, I know. With the Suns, in your whole character thing with Josh Jackson, they have no talent whatsoever besides Chris and Dunn and Bledsoe. Who, me personally, I'd try to trade for a big because, again, you got no talent. You're the second worst team in the league. I would take Jackson if I were them, if he falls there, or Tatum.
Well, the argument is Jackson is more of a safe bet. He doesn't have. I would say Tatum probably has more upside when it comes to becoming a star. Jackson, I feel like, is more of a safe bet where he's going to come in and be an NBA ready prospect, but I'm not sure what he does long term. I don't know. It's a toss up there. I think a small forward is definitely the best play for the Suns.
Yes.
But knowing them, they could surprise me and just throw out Justin Jackson instead of Josh Jackson. And
Oh God.
Slight difference in course. Eric?
Yes, and going back to my original point, the Celtics. I think definitely draft Markelle at 1. I think I said this last episode. The talent is too good not to pass up on. He can create his own offense and be a secondary scorer to Isaiah. But if you can trade the pick for Anthony Davis, which is highly unlikely, I would literally give up anyone on this team.
Paul George?
No, only Anthony Davis.
Only.
Because this is an interesting team. Only interesting team.
Why? So then you can combine Kelly Olynyk with the man bun or man ponytail and with the brow.
Hey, I would give up anything the Pelicans want. I'd give up the TD Garden. I'd give up literally anything for Anthony Davis.
All right.
Tom Brady.
This is a little new.
Tom Brady.
All right, not that far. Not that far.
Jimmy Garoppolo?
Oh, absolutely. He's gone on a heartbeat if I can get Anthony Davis.
Jeez, this Anthony Davis thing is, I think, a newfound love on Under the Hood. This is...
He's so good.
Okay. Daniel, are you in agreement with some of Eric's sentiments? Or would you... Or if you were Danny Ainge, would you go about this differently?
I mean, getting Anthony Davis would be pretty good, but I wouldn't give up the whole city of Boston for him, maybe. But,
I only said the guard. I didn't say the whole city of Boston.
Maybe he can just become mayor. Anthony Davis can just become mayor, and we'll be all.
No, I am fine with that.
But obviously, Fultz is probably the direction they're going into, and since we can't get Davis, there's no point in trading the pick for someone like Paul George if we can maybe sign Gordon Hayward in the offseason.
Exactly.
As well. It's going to be fun to see what the Celtics do next year, and can't wait for the offseason. Sort of more excited for the offseason than the finals as a Celtics fan, but we'll see.
Enjoy the basketball that is hopefully some of the best in history. But I think that if they go with Fultz, and then if they land one of those higher tier free agents, whether it is a Paul George or a Gordon Hayward, more likely probably than a Paul George or an Anthony Davis, then and only then I think can they be considered legit threats to the Cavaliers. They obviously have to give up something in return for, or at least for, well, depending on the cap. If they're able to sign Hayward and Fultz, you add that to their current lineup that stays pretty. There's a lot of continuity there. Then I think they are a threat. Right now, no. With Fultz, not yet. Give it a couple more years. If they're able to add another high price free agent, then we can talk. Dan.
But don't forget that in last year's draft, the Celtics drafted some French power forward who went to go play in France this year and is going to come back in the next season, and he looks pretty nice. So I can't wait for him to take over Tyler Zeller's weak spot.
Oh, great. If he's coming from out of the country, maybe he'll lose his geography. Maybe he'll find his way to the Knicks instead of the Celtics. We'd take that if he's pretty good.
We'll take anyone.
You really need another power forward, though. It's like the one position. Yeah.
I don't know.
Anything.
Anyone with a pulse would do.
But I will not give up the Garden. I will not give up the Garden.
Garden stays.
Garden comes before the team. All right. So I think any other points to bring up? Otherwise, that will be that will be it for us on this last evening of May. It's going to be June tomorrow. Unbelievable. Game 2 has started probably about 15, 20 minutes ago. And with that, I'm going to thank everyone for watching tonight. Have a great night.